This is arguably the most anticipated offering from BMW since its debut in Frankfurt in 2009. A design which really presents itself more so as an exercise in human ingenuity than the most desired plug-in sports car in the world. Not including obviously the hypercars 918 P1 LaFerrari, which are the only other cars that offer this combination of energies to provide a sports car experience. I mean, this is really a design for the future. The overall design itself with BMW's layering principles exposes new opportunities for designers to shape a car silhouette. For example, this is the first time we see disconnected floating body panels, which are just one piece of a total set of aerodynamic elements, all of which are inspired by nature and inspired directly by the shape of a droplet of water. This is just magnificent to see in person. And I mean, this car is chock full of very clever design solutions everywhere from form to function. And it's really fascinating to see the level of detail in focused areas like the headlights. This is presented with an LED headlight setup, but as we understand it, in Europe you can actually order a laser headlight option. We like the fact that when the turn signal is operating, the daytime LED accent lamps remain on. In some other cars, you'll notice that the daytime LEDs turn off so that the turn signals, so you can see the difference. But in this car, everything remains on, which is fantastic. To give you an idea of just how efficient this car is, the drag coefficient is just 0.26. So following this efficient thought process, the i8 is equipped with hinged scissor doors, which are actually very useful in practice. They're very easy to open, very easy to close, and the large openings make entering and exiting the vehicle as comfortable as one would imagine a BMW to be. One element we see throughout the i8 are the eye-inspired blue accent rings and finishes. This car has it below the door sill, but it's on the kidney grills and some logos throughout, and you'll see this echoed in the interior as well. The wheels on this example are 20-inch light alloys, and the trim level is Terra World. The wheels are intelligently designed to reduce some of the drag generally found in the wheel wells. So there's 4 trim levels you can choose from in the i8. There's Mega World, Giga World, Terra World, as you see it here, which comes with gorgeous brown leather interior, and the top trim would be Pure Impulse World. So power to the front wheels comes from an electric motor with a 2-speed transmission, and power to the rear wheels is from a 3-cylinder turbocharged gas motor mated to an automatic 6-speed transmission. So the total power, you get 357 horsepower, total torque 420 foot-pounds. And the sound of the gas motor is pretty aggressive for a 3-cylinder, but when you're inside with the augmented sound in the cockpit, that's really when it truly comes to life. So it's interesting to note that the carbon fiber in this car does not look like the traditional carbon fiber you would come to expect. It doesn't have that traditional weave everyone is familiar with when they think about carbon fiber. Because of a new manufacturing process, BMW has managed to actually reduce the cost of mass producing carbon fiber. And as an added interesting note, the carbon fiber material used in the i8 is made in the USA at a facility which only uses hydropower. So other than all these fantastic features and facts, we're going to go through the interior in detail. Being a new generation BMW, you have the latest touchpad iDrive controller, and the software has additional settings for the efficiency of the electric drive in this i8, and I would imagine all iCars. But we'll drive the car, we'll see what all the drive modes feel like, and we'll see if it lives up to all the anticipation. Before we proceed, we want to take a moment to thank Global Motor Cars of Houston. They have a wide range of inventory they've opened up to us to provide you these reviews. They have newer cars, certified cars, exotic cars, custom cars, classic cars, luxury cars, daily drivers, SUVs. So they have a wide range that can cater to a lot of customers' needs. If you're interested in purchasing a vehicle, or you find any vehicle in our reviews interesting, we ask you contact them at globalmotorcars.com. Here's the new key, flat, very new style design. It strays itself away from the other current BMW keys, which is fantastic. You have metal finishes around that echo the same details inside and out, and we'll look at some of those things that carry through. You have your unlocked lock, your back trunk, which is also where the engine is, but this will give you access to the trunk, and in case you need to locate the car, or your emergency siren here. You do have a valet key that slides out, and that valet key also, in the case of an emergency or no batteries, can slide in here and unlock the door. But generally it is a keyless start system, but what we'll do is push unlock and open the door. gorgeous scissor doors. So everything is aerodynamically efficient, of course. Weight savings in mind everywhere. Ultra stiff while saving weight. So you have carbon fiber in the door panel, carbon fiber beams with aluminum panels. So the structure in the door is actually carbon. The life module, which sits on top of the drive module, is carbon. The drive module being mostly aluminum. But you get these fantastic exposed carbon lines in the door panel, in the door entryway where you get in, and right here over the sill. And all of it is really fantastically rigid. I mean, when you push on it, it's ultra stiff and it looks gorgeous. These lines almost looks like textile. So the sill does sit pretty high, so you actually get in as if it's like a tub type setup, but they refer to it as the life module. So you get in and pull the handle and shut the door. Again, it is a keyless operated starting system, so once you're inside, you just push start. And of course, because it's an electric car, it starts automatically in comfort mode. We're going to go through some of the modes with you. There's 4 drive modes, but by default it starts in comfort mode. So you don't get an engine sound on startup. You just get sort of a futuristic whine, electric whistle, so to speak. So following the sort of draped teardrop look of everything in this car, you get the same thing in the mirror, a sort of teardrop sweep up. And through the rearview mirror, you get a good shot of that air channel back there that's made from the body panels. Gorgeous vents, panels, curtains, air to sort of direct the air all over this car. And that sort of futuristic look echoes in the interior with the lines that you see here, of course, with the blue stitching and the blue lines and the details, the blue ring around the BMW. This car is finished in like a dark metallic gray over this gorgeous a brown sort of finish. And the leather in it, consider that most efficient cars, everything inside is eco-friendly material, which is eco-friendly material in this car as well, but they have a sort of hippie-like sensation to them. Even in the Tesla, the seats feel sort of light, sort of, a good way to describe them is like a hippie material. Everything is sort of eco-friendly and you sense it. In this car, you don't, while it is eco-friendly, you don't get that at all. So the joints of the door panel and some other locations above the AC and in the other door panel, there's gorgeous LED lighting to give the cabin a very nice ambiance at night. You do have your door open switch here and your lock and unlock switch right here. Very, very comfortable, very ergonomic to your thumb and your hand. You have your fuel door, which opens up your gas fuel door on the right passenger side rear. You have your mirror functions, your driver window and your passenger window, and the same trunk button that's on the key is here on the door handle, or your armrest. So everything again has that feeling of like a very nice 7 Series leather. So you don't feel like, okay, I'm inside of an eco-friendly car. Obviously the quietness gives you that sensation, and the overall feeling of the car gives you the sensation of a futuristic eco-friendly car, but the interior feels as luxurious as you would anticipate a brand new $130,000 BMW would. So we'll go through some of the drive modes and we'll talk about this instrument cluster. Moving over here to the left, you have your AC vents, which are manually operated with a little tab, centrally located tab, and everything feels really quality. Everything feels really tangible to the touch, so nothing is loose. Everything has a really quality, heavy sensation to it. You have your light switch, your automatic off, your daytime running lamps and full on, and your interior cabin lighting. So you do have some information here at the bottom left that can be cycled through with this BC button. So as I push this BC button, this cycles through. And of course you have your turn signals here on this stock. Functioning your turn signal is pretty easy. Everything is just like other BMWs, so if you're a BMW fan or you have other BMW cars, getting into this car would be really easy to function and start driving right away. You have your cruise control settings here on the left hand side of the steering wheel. And this car is equipped with this, it automatically knows the speed limit where you are, and it'll give you a visual signal of the speed limit here. And there's a visual speed, I'm not sure if it shows on the camera, but there's a visual signal of the speed limit in my windscreen with the heads up display, full color heads up display. You have steering wheel mounted shift paddles, minus and plus. So being that they're steering wheel mounted, they do move with the steering wheel. So if you turn to the left, you now have your switched positions, pluses on the left. You have all of your functions for your radio, your voice command, your phone here on the right, traditional to BMW. Everything else here in the center stack is also traditional to BMW. You have your screen here protruding out of the center with your iDrive controls, which we'll go through. You have your hazard button, your frontal collision, your collision warning systems here in this, within this. You have your memory buttons here. They have that soft touch memory assignments, so you can, as my finger slides across, you can see that it's moving, but it's not activating anything until I give it a full press. And you can program everything from addresses, phone numbers, and all kinds of things into the favorites of these buttons up here. Down below those buttons, you have your comfort and temperature for the cabin, your seat warmer, your rear defroster, your temperature for your driver and your passenger, and they can be synced or unsynced. And everything that has to do with the climate control is easily functioned right here. Moving down from that, you have a gorgeous little LED detail around the start button. One of the driving modes that's available in this car is the eDrive. So when you push eDrive, you get, right now the battery isn't charged enough to get full eDrive, but pushing that, you can see that it pulls up the menu saying that you can go up to a certain distance on just electric power, assuming you had enough battery juice. I think on all electric power this can go up to 20 miles or so and up to 75 miles an hour. You have your traction control system, which is integrated into the electric motor mounted on the front axle, and the fuel motor, mid-mounted rear fuel motor that's driving the rear wheels. So the gas portion is a rear wheel drive, the electric portion front wheel drive, total all-wheel drive basically when they're going together. You have your comfort, your Eco Pro. By default, car starts in comfort, and when you're in drive you can shift this to the left to get this car into sport. Getting into sport, of course, is full performance, getting all the power from the front motor, the electric motor, and all the power from the gas motor for a full performance sporty driving experience. You have your camera button and your rear parking sensor control. Off to the left here you have electronically activated, deactivated parking brake, and the transmission stock itself is traditional to other BMW cars of this model year. Moving back from that, you have a little storage compartment here, which is kind of odd because it opens up towards you and everything is, you know, facing the passenger, so to speak. But you have your USB here and auxiliary input right here, and will charge, and it'll also integrate it into the radio. You have one single cup holder, and you have a storage compartment here that opens up towards the driver, which would be traditionally where your phone is, and there is 12-volt DC power supply. So the iDrive controller is just like every other BMW. You have down, up, left, right, and rotation and select as your options. You have a dedicated back button, which is fantastic. I always like it in the dedicated back button. And you have an option button that'll take you through further options of whatever sub menu you're in. So you can quick push these buttons up here to go directly to those functions, or you can go straight to them via the turn dial on this iDrive controller. So you go up, rotate down. I can go to multimedia here, or I can go to multimedia here. Similarly with all the other functions you can do so, and the menu as well will take you straight to the main menu here where we are in the center. You do have further settings you can control. I mean, this car is infinitely adjustable. Charging, auto eDrive, everything. There's options for everything to look at, and if it's modifiable, modify. You can modify the heads-up display, the brightness, rotation, location. Everything else is pretty much modifiable to the way you like. Your lighting, be it your interior lighting or your exterior lighting, pathway lighting, functions of your doors and your key, how it locks, unlocks, frontal collision warning, profiles that are saved. So there's a plethora of options in the vehicle settings that you can go into and change. Vehicle info will give you your electronic manual here, so you don't have to go through a hard manual or a paper manual, and you can search by quick reference or pictures or even a keyword. And then everything else, the connected drive is the BMW apps and stuff, and everything else is pretty much self-explanatory. Very fantastic that it's exactly as it would be in any other BMW, so they kept that even in this car very convenient. Moving up here to the top stack, you have your home link buttons, you have a manually adjusted mirror, you have your reading lamps for your driver and your passenger, your main cabin lamp, your SOS and assistance button, and your passenger airbag signal to tell you if nobody's in there, it's off. You have your microphone, your Bluetooth microphone up here, and probably any sensor, temperature sensor or anything right here in these grills. The roof does feel very simple. The material feels simple. Everything does feel light. If anywhere in this car feels light and feels eco-friendly, and obviously eco-friendly, it's these sun visors and the roof in general, the feeling of the roof. But I think that's really the only place that it feels like that. The gorgeous Harman Kardon speaker covers. So let's I'm gonna put the car in drive here. You don't get no signal, the engine doesn't turn on, nothing like that, because it's standard in default and comfort. I can switch this to Eco Pro, which will reduce the amount of power acceleration so that everything is ultimately efficient. The AC compressor goes into Eco Pro mode. Everything goes into Eco Pro mode to gain efficiency and fuel range by reducing everything a little bit but staying safe. I can push the auto e-drive as we did before, but there's not enough battery for it to stay in e-drive. Or I can push my shifting stock to the left as I just did, and it goes straight into sport mode, where you can see in sport mode the power, electric power demanded turns into a traditional RPM gauge. So by default you have this 0 to 100 gauge, which tells you that when you smash the gas you're demanding 100% of the power, and if you let go of the gas you go into regenerative braking, it will go into the charge portion of the gauge. But switching it to sport gives you a traditional RPM gauge with a boost monitor in the center, boost being when the electric motor kicks in to give you that additional power. So I can't wait to get to the driving portion to see how all that feels, because this is probably the most exciting car BMW has produced in quite some time. So let's go into the passenger, open the fuel compartment, open the back trunk, and get to the driving portion of the review. So we're going to unlock the car, open the door, open the trunk, open the fuel door. So up on the front fender, the driver's side fender, you have your plug-in for the charging system. Very convenient. And then on the rear back fender, you have your traditional fuel for the motor in the rear, the fuel motor in the rear. As I was saying earlier, when you open this trunk, the motor is in there, right there. So all you get is this sort of trunk space here. You have your plug to charge the car. Let's see what else is in here. Some other for towing, your tow hook, some other storage things. You do have exposed carbon everywhere in the life module that you open. You see exposed carbon. So that's a very gorgeous feature. And you do have ventilation, passive ventilation here. Could be active ventilation for the motor mounted below. And so now we'll get to the exciting portion, the driving portion. Can't wait to see how this thing sounds and feels on the road. Alrighty folks, so this is the long anticipated BMW i8, debuted in 2009 in the Frankfurt Auto Show, showing the sort of the future for BMW and what to expect, and I guess the future for car companies across the globe. So immediately the sensation I get from the car, I don't get the sensation I'm driving a electric fuel efficient car. It feels quite normal to me. Of course you start in comfort mode. In comfort mode you do take advantage of both the gas motor and the electric motor in sort of a balanced manner. You do have a 129 horsepower electric motor driving the front axle with 184 foot-pounds of torque. And you have a 228 horsepower turbocharged 3-cylinder driving the rear axle with 236 foot-pounds of torque, for a total of 357 horsepower and about 420 foot-pounds of torque. Of course, having an electric motor will compensate for the lag experience because of the turbo, so you sort of get this continuous torque sensation, and we'll go through that in every mode available in the car, and talk about how it feels in different modes. So in comfort mode right here at this stop sign, we'll give it some gas, I shouldn't say gas, some throttle, and see how it goes. So from a standstill, a little bit of gas, and we're open. So let's switch this into sport, where we're going to get full boost. Wow, hold the RPMs a lot higher. Wow, and it holds gear, so it's not shifting when I in overrun, and it's giving charge to my battery when I release the gas. What a spirited car. I mean, it's the problem with electric cars is if you want to put a lot of juice, you need a lot of battery. A lot of battery means a lot of weight. So if you have a high performance electric car, generally the idea is it's going to weigh a lot because of the battery requirement. With all of the efficiency, the life module, the drive module being aluminum, life module being carbon, all of these weight savings, the balance of the car is unharmed, and the weight is that of a typical sports car, which is fantastic. The balance, of course, comes from everything being centrally located, centrally mounted, and low CG and low coefficient of drag, with all of the other efficiency, 0.26 in the coefficient of drag, everything lowest CG of any BMW, and of course everything, including the fuel motor, is centrally located down where you would consider the transmission would be, is actually battery power. I mean, it just sounds amazing. For an electric car or an ultra efficient plug-in car that's supposed to get 100 plus miles to the gallon, oh my god. Man, that feels great. 357 instantaneous horsepower, maybe not instantaneous horsepower, but 420 instantaneous foot-pounds of torque, almost damn near instantaneous. I mean, that feels fantastic. So the whole while that I've been pushing the gas, I should say that the AC has been functioning just fine. Everything else has been functioning just fine. The steering, the power steering feels smooth, feels balanced. The cars, when you're shifting the mass side to side, feels absolutely stable. When you're running up through the gear and the speed, the velocity is picking up. I think this car has 155 mile an hour top speed, but while the car is picking up that speed, it feels absolutely planted. Very well behaved sports car. I hesitate to call it a very well behaved plug-in sports car, because it does actually feel and drive like a pure sports car, and the shape of it is a pure sports car. I mean, what a brilliant vehicle by BMW. Honestly, this is truly brilliant. The group of people that got together, the smart minds and brains that came together to create this for BMW, the engineers, their designers, their planners, everybody inside of BMW, their efficiency designers, their aero designers, their electric power, battery power designers, their motor is designed in-house. So it took a lot of brains to get together to make this so seamless and done with so much finesse. So hats off to BMW. Truly an amazing driving experience all around. If I had the money, I would buy this car tomorrow, but unfortunately the demand on this car is so high that I would have to pay a pretty high premium to get this car right now. It's just the way that the world works, that this was obvious to be a game-changing car, and the industry is responding to it very, very well. So I mean, if this is the first stab at a fuel efficient sports car by BMW, this is their first iteration of what they think it should be, God knows where they're going to go from here. I mean, the only way you're going to get this kind of performance and this sort of technology, balancing plug-in electronics with the gas motor, the only way you're going to get this sort of combination of technologies is with the $1 million plus hypercars, the 918, the McLaren P1, the Ferrari LaFerrari. All these cars have this sort of combination of plug-in and gas motor to make it a truly thoroughbred sports car. Truly amazing. While I try to gather my thoughts here, it's been a fantastic ride, fantastic experience to review this car. It's something that for my life I'll always remember, because this is going to always be a very important car to BMW, like their classic cars, the 507. It's just going to be one of those cars that in history will last and be there for good. So I'm glad you guys watched this review. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want to see. Comment, subscribe, follow. We're everywhere at Motorcar File. Let us know, and we'll try to get you some more of these exclusive cars in the future. Thanks.